A growing outrage over a new Hollywood skit taking aim at America's gun control debate. It's called Cold Dead Hand, and in it, actor Jim Carrey pokes fun at gun supporters with a parody of iconic actor and former NRA president Charlton Heston, who died in 2008. The title of the song alludes to a 2000 NRA convention speech Mr. Heston once made. Take a look.
From my cold, dead hands.
He said that's when you'll get his gun. And now take a look at Jim Carrey's clip on Funny or Die.
Only the devil's true devotees could profiteer from pain and fear. Charlton Heston movies are no longer in demand, and his immortal soul may lay forever in the sand. The angels wouldn't take him up to heaven like he planned, 'cause they couldn't pry that gun from his cold dead hand.
Greg Gutfeld is co-host of The Five right here on FNC, and I don't remember ever seeing you this fired up. The most pathetic tool on the face of the earth, and I hope his career is dead, and I hope he ends up sleeping in a car the way his life began. That's Greg on The Five yesterday on this.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel usually on Mondays in general. I'm kind of in a bitter mood.
Usually you're taking that out on Bob.
Yeah, I know, but, finally Bob and I agree on some things. The thing that, it's not anger or rage, because that's, in effect, what they want. And I think you're being too kind to the guy. It wasn't about gun owners. It was actually an attack on Southerners, Midwesterners, people with a drawl.
Why? Because of the hee-haw reference?
Yeah, the hee-haw. And that's the funny thing about this, is that he was parodying hee-haw, which is a parody. It was actually a loving parody of the South. That's what hee-haw was. So the fact that he doesn't even know that shows how stupid he is. I mean, he really is a moron.
Well, let me ask you this. Why get so worked up about it? I mean, I see it's like Jim Carrey. It's funny or die. He's doing what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Who cares what Jim Carrey has to say?
Well, I think there's if you are somebody that is trying to be edgy, this is his idea of taking a risk. It really is about as edgy as a handball. How is this brave? Making fun of a person who's not alive to defend himself. So if you say, like, Bill Schultz on Red Eye said to me, if you don't ignore it, I mean, if you ignore it, then it doesn't get any play. But I'm going like, maybe Charlton Heston doesn't have that choice. I do. And there's this other argument that, he's a comedian and comedians do things and it's a joke. But so they carve out their own area of free speech.
That's what Funny or Die does. They post like sort of skits like this.
Yeah. How does that stop me from being able to comment on it? Why can't I say it sucks? And why can't I call him a coward?
But
and
how
why
is
can't
he,
I call him
how is he a coward? Because I mean, what about what he did is cowardly?
Going after
the Heston thing, I get. He's dead. He can't defend himself.
It's pretty gross, I think. The other thing too is going after a group of people without actually knowing who they are. I don't think Jim Carrey hangs out in the South or the Midwest.
Certainly takes their money at the box office.
Exactly, which probably won't last very long, given this video. The other thing, too, is that he is poking fun of them for owning guns, which is a luxury he doesn't have to worry about because he has a bodyguard already that is armed. And I'm certain that his house is well surrounded and incredibly secure, so he never really has to pack heat. There are people in rural communities that have shotguns, that have handguns for reasons that the police don't get there in time. He will never have to worry about that. I think that this kind of issue is really cool to do for a celebrity, especially as an insecure one that is seeking validation through some kind of pseudo-intellectual cause. I mean, here's a guy that has never really been validated as a smart person.
And I want to ask you about the hypocrisy, because Jim Carrey is not so averse to guns when it comes to movie making and finance. We'll talk about that next. Now, one of the things that jumped out at me was he's there and he's obviously being provocative somewhat in this bit. But on Twitter, he got a lot meaner and said, "Cold Dead Hand, that parody is about you, heartless mother effers, unwilling to bend for the safety of our kids." Sorry if you're offended by the word safety. Now, it's not just, Greg Gutfeld out there advocating for Second Amendment rights. I mean, there were some of the parents in Newtown that we watched give testimony. They don't all feel the same, but some of those parents were out there saying, we don't want a gun ban. We don't think that's going to solve anything. Yeah. One of the parents of little Christina Green, who was killed in the Gabby Giffords shooting that happened out in Arizona, came out and said, that's not the answer. And according to Jim Carrey in his little tweet, those people are heartless mother, I mean, the contemptuousness for people who just happen to disagree with them.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I could see both sides of this debate, and I don't think I was. The Second Amendment was never my big. I never really thought about it this much, but it is self-righteous jerks, sanctimonious turds like Jim Carrey that make you choose a side because you're going like, I just don't like the way he talks about people. And the funny thing is, he makes these tweets or does whatever he does, then he disappears. He crawls under a rock. So when he doesn't really want to debate, it's more like a look at me, look how daring I am, and it's not daring at all. I think this is because he's trying to appeal to the Hollywood puppeteers. I mean, he's a marionette, and he's fading, and he's saying, look, I'm still relevant. I'm not aging.
Well, and that's a medium in which he has used guns to his advantage many times. I mean, many of his movies feature him and various characters using guns, shooting things up. Here he is in the mask and so on. It's fine for him to do it and promote guns as long as he's making a buck off of it.
Right.
But if you want to do it for your own family safety and the privacy of your own home, that's a different story for him. He thinks you're a heartless MFer.
Yeah, that just shows you, again, how cloistered people in Hollywood are. That they just don't know that Americans actually use guns the same way they use cars. It's something that is useful as part of their lives. For him, it's just something that helps him make a lot of money in movies. And then there happens to be some beefy guy that has one in his pocket when he goes out to award shows to make sure he doesn't get mobbed by the regular people.
Of which you are not one.
No, I'm abnormal.
We know, and that's what we love about you.
Yeah.
We'll see more of the abnormal Greg tonight on The 5. Thanks for being here, Gregor.